This week's devotion comes from Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 through 12. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak, and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. I don't know how you are when you read these words, but in the past, when I have read this passage that is known as the Beatitudes, I have been a little confused. What does some of this mean? At this point, you have read or should have read about the stages of grief. There are different stages of grief, but the most common one used has the acronym called DAPDA: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then please make sure you go back and read from your Teacher's 2 Cents handouts. Cycles and stages can be helpful ways to conceptualize what is going on during a set of circumstances, even if it doesn't make anything easier. About 4 years ago, I heard a sermon on these Beatitudes that changed the way I understood them. In the sermon, I was instructed to see the Beatitudes as steps. Let's go through them as steps. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. There's this idea that when you realize the poverty in your spirit, that's the first step. Just the realization, okay, I have nothing here. I am poor in spirit. I am a lowly man or a lowly woman. And once you realize what the poverty is of your spirit, then you mourn. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. So first, you realize the poverty of your spirit, and that, in a sense, is the first step. It's the door that opens up. So yours is the kingdom of heaven. If you just realize you're poor in spirit, and then that poverty, that realization that you're poor in spirit, in turn makes you mourn that poverty. Once you realize your poverty and you mourn that poverty, there's a meekness that comes along with that. So blessed are the poor, blessed are those who mourn, blessed are the meek. And then once you realize the poverty and you mourn it, and you're in this state of being meek, then you have a thirst for righteousness. You want to be filled. Yes, I'm poor and I've mourned it, and I'm in this very humble, meek place, and I want to be filled with righteousness. So blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Now, once you realize your poverty and you mourn that, and you're thirsty and hungry for righteousness, then you know you, above all people, deserve mercy. And when you deserve mercy, you're able to, when you realize that you deserve mercy, you're in turn able to give to others mercy. So blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. And of course, through all of this, then there is the next, blessed are the pure in heart. And I think that's interesting. There's this link between being merciful and having a pure heart. So blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. And isn't it true that when our heart is pure, when our lens through which we see, which is our heart, we kind of see the world through the state of our heart. When our heart is pure, we can see God. Not just see God as in see Him in heaven when we get there, but we can see God right now. We can see where He's at work. We can see what He's doing in our lives. We can see what He's doing in someone else's lives. And when we can see God at work right now, then we can join in. We can join in helping Him establish peace here on earth. We can become peacemakers. So then, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. So then I think this is an interesting place, because then notice where we end up next. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. If you're going to live for God, if you're going to be a peacemaker, you're going to get persecuted on a daily basis. Just being a peacemaker and trying to live out God's statutes in life puts you in a position of offending people, and so you will be persecuted for that. Maybe not have stones thrown at you, or be threatened with death, maybe, but just in the sense that people are going to probably hurt you, and you'll have to be able to stand your ground. But I think what's interesting is you can see it comes full circle. Notice that you end up where you began, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Could it be that these stages, just like with the stages of grief, are meant to be gone through over and over again? So you get through it once, and then maybe you go a little bit deeper. Maybe it's like an onion. As you go through the cycle once, you then go deeper in your walk, deeper in your awareness of how much you need Him, of the poverty in your spirit, in your hunger and your thirst for righteousness, in your meekness, in your ability to see God at work and to join in and become a peacemaker. The Beatitudes are the start of what is known as the Sermon on the Mount. Some might argue that these are the first public words of Jesus. Something about them is important. Maybe you have another way of understanding them. I hope and pray that this way of looking at them sheds new light on an old message.